Naples, Florida. I am a resident of Atlanta, Fulton County, and Major asked me, and I said, of course, I'd love to support you guys. And I'm in Florida right now because we literally escaped to our pool house and are hanging out here because we said, if we're going to be locked down and we choose to be still a little bit more locked down, we might as well be locked down with a pool. So here we are. So thank you for having me. I'm going to share my screen because we're going to go through some great information. So I surely hope that you have something to write with and something to write on, as I'm going to give you some great information. And I'm going to share my screen with you really quick, just to give you a quick overview of who I am, why should you listen to me, and then we're going to go through some slides. So Brigitta Hoeferle, that is definitely not Georgian at all, although I can do the Georgia peach a little bit. I'm originally from Germany, moved to the United States in 2004 with my husband and my toddler daughter, who just turned 18 a few days ago. So we've been here a while, and we are proud to say we are Americans and are part of the community, a very a tight community where we live. I am an international speaker. I own 3 degrees. I came to the United States basically to build a Montessori school. That's what we did. And back then, if you know anything about Germans and German culture, they're very risk averse. And my father-in-law said, what are you doing? Why are you taking my only grandchild to a country that I don't even know if it's going to be around? And why are you doing that? And I said, because I have a mission, I have a purpose, and that is to build a Montessori school, which we did up in the Chattanooga area. We grew from 3 students to 75 students last year to 125 students starting August. I also own, as Major said, another educational facility, and that is the NLP Center of Atlanta. Really quick, what does NLP stand for? It is all about communication. Your communication starts right here in your mind. Neuro is the brain. Linguistic is the communication that either comes out of your mouth and lands with someone else, or that you speak to yourself. Programming is the behavior that you program within yourself or within others. You guys are all in business. How many of you are not in business? I guess you're all in business. That's why we came together here, and I hope that you enjoy your lunch. When you are in business, you are communicating, you are building relationships. The better of a communicator, the more relationships and the deeper relationships you can build. So we're gonna go deeper into what does that mean. I'm gonna start playing my screen here. So we're gonna go through the 13 ways to handle any objection. How many of you are really, really good? Raise your hand by show of hands, are really, really good at handling objections. And how many of you are just, you know, sometimes you're like, I'm good with one person and I'm just not so good with another person handling objections. That also goes through the personality types, which I'm not going to go through today. Major is an incredible expert in that, and you might want to go back to him, and we might do a segment on that at some other time. Poor behavior, write this down. Poor behavior is a lack of quality communication. I'm going to say that again. Poor behavior in yourself or in others is a lack of quality communication. NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, is all about choice and flexibility. The more choice you have in your word catalog, the more flexibility you have in your language patterns, the more you're going to build relationship with other people, specifically with people that might not be like you, the personality type like you, the culturally like you, maybe not even like you in terms of values and in terms of interests. So we're going to go through that. We're going to go through 3 approaches to handling objections: before it comes up, after it comes up, or ignoring it altogether. So we're going to go strategically through that. I'm going to give you the 13 steps. Once you get better, your prospects become better, is what Zig Ziglar said. There's a lot of truth in that. I'm going to let that sink in with you guys. So we're going to go through the 13 ways to handle any objection now. And we're going to start with the mind reading technique. The mind reading technique is all about handling objections before they come up. And this will transform your selling. You bring up the objection in the body of your presentation before the prospect does it. This is called mind reading, and you handle about 80% of the objection in the body of your presentation. Because you handled the majority of objections already, they will not be there at the close. So when you come to the close, you already handled, and what are the most objections? You probably already know what two of the major objections are: time and money. So if you can speak to those objections by a mind read immediately in your presentation, when you come to the close, when you come to asking for the signature, that's where you're gonna hardly have to handle any objection. The way that you mind read is also by becoming a really good listener of what the person is talking about. Often in terms of personality types, with a very high blueprint person, you might hear that they're very risk averse, or with a high action person, you know, they're pretty much, if it makes sense to them, it's a ready, fire, aim kind of approach, and it ties in with their lifestyle, they're probably ready to go. If it does a greater good, the nurturers are probably ready to go. And if it makes logic sense and you have given all of the facts, all of the data, that's when the knowledge personality type is going to say, yes, where do I sign? So that is the mind reading technique. Now, no, I'm going to fly through this because we started a little bit late and I want to be very mindful of your time. That's why you really want to take good notes as well. So then we're going to go into the stories. The majority of sales are emotion driven. We buy on emotion and we justify with logic. We buy on emotion, we justify with logic. Emotions are the foundations of good stories. You guys probably have all heard it. Facts tell, stories sell. See, I knew you're good. So the prospect puts themselves into the story. They're associating with what you're telling them. And the more associated that you are, or the listener is, your prospect is in the story, the more effective your close will also be. So stories act like an invisible seller, an invisible selling. So you can say something like, as the presenter, when I initially spoke to one of our now legacy clients, and now you can insert the objection. That is called a language pattern. I'll tell you the first part of that sentence again. When I initially spoke to one of our now legacy clients, comma, and now you insert the objection. That they thought that they can't do this, or they didn't have a termite problem, or whatever it is that you're selling, right? You're now, you use that front part of the language pattern. That is a story that also tells that you have legacy clients, that legacy client was on the edge, was on the fence before they signed up, and that you handled that objection. And therefore, in that story, it tells to the listener and to the person that to your prospect that's potentially buying into your product, that there's no need for them to have any fear, that there's no objection overall at this point. The next one is questions. A powerful way to handle an objection is to be more inquisitive within the presentation and with your prospect. You have delivered a professional sales presentation, and now the prospect owes you an explanation. So you're investigating the objection with the following script. So if someone says, you know what, I don't have the time. Okay, tell me more about that. If you would have more time, what would you do with it? Or whatever the objection may be. A great question is, write this down, tell me more about that. Be inquisitive. Don't just, most people fall flat with taking the objection and then not going anywhere with it. And it just kind of lays there and they're like, okay, well, let me pack up my things. Well, it was nice to meet you. Thank you very much. No, be inquisitive, because you want to give your prospect an opportunity to talk about whom? Themselves, exactly. So be more inquisitive. So if the objection is, I don't have time, great, tell me more about that. And what would you do with more time? Or I don't have the money. Fantastic, tell me more about that. If you would have more money, and how can we serve you with that? If you have a valuable product or service, you really want to become very, very good at overcoming the objection of time and money. If they do have a problem that you are the solution to, you can, and it does cost money, you can show them how long-term or midterm it will save them money, or will save them time and money. The next one is solving the problem. When you solve the problem, the objection totally goes away. Now it becomes a no-brainer. A common objection is, I'm too busy to meet with you. So now you become more flexible. Find another time. Working with doctors or dentists or anyone that has, normal business hours, that can be a problem in meeting with them. So you could meet with them, before the office hours or after the office hours. You could meet with them once the patients leave, or you can create a Zoom call with them of a half an hour in their lunchtime. You could meet with them after the normal work week, say on a Saturday or Sunday. Be flexible. The person with the most flexibility controls the system. That is called the law of requisite variety. When you are flexible enough and you're not taking that kind of no for an answer, they will see that you're going to go out of your way. You could meet whenever, if they say, listen, I am in Naples, Florida right now on vacation, great, let's meet for a Zoom meeting. Will you be able to make time, between you come back from the pool and going to the beach? Meet them where they're at. Isolate the objection. You want to isolate the objection to find out if this is truly the only objection the prospect has. Find out that this is the only objection the prospect has that is so powerful. If there's another objection, you need to elicit that so they can handle that objection as well. So here's a script for that. Here's the objection, other than time and money, is there anything else that prevents you from moving forward today? Today is a very necessary word. Now would be even better. Now is known as a hypnotic word. So other than, insert the objection, is there anything else that prevents you from moving forward now or today? Bringing out the objection. You want to bring light to the objection. Often prospects do not want to reveal the true objection. They kind of give you a bogus objection. Each objection they give you is kind of a stall, but it's not the real objection. They're kind of holding it for whatever reason. So you can say, or there might be a rhythm to that, and the prospect says, I don't have the money. Okay, as a sales professional, you say, I understand. So what you're saying, or what I'm hearing, is that you don't have the money. Is that correct? And the prospect says, yep, that's correct. And then you as a sales professional can say, I am sure that you have some other concerns before moving forward. Do you mind sharing with me what these other concerns are? So now you're kind of calling their bluff without calling their bluff. You're kind of, giving them a platform to come out with any other concerns or objections they have. Because you know it in your gut that this one objection that they're having, it's not the real objection. It's not the true objection. So let's bring light to the true objection so we can handle it and we can address it and we can move on from it. You want to investigate the objection. You're a detective. You want to get all of the details around the objection. Don't just take your prospect's answer as a face value. You can say, as we said earlier, tell me more about that. Once you get more details, and don't be afraid to take notes. Don't be afraid to say, do you mind if I write this down? Because again, people want to feel heard. They want to talk about themselves. And the more you make them feel important and that you're paying attention to what they're saying, the more you're building trust with them. Handling objections is all about making it about them and building trust so they like you, they trust you, and then they will also buy from you. So once you get more details, now you can solve that objection. You can look at that objection and overcome it with them. You want to handle the objection before it comes up. You look at the 8 to 10 most common objections that you're getting. So as a success work after today, I'd like for you to write down about 8 to 10 of your most common objections that you're getting. I mean, literally write them on a piece of paper. The hand is connected to the heart. Don't just type them up, but really write them out so you can look at them, and then you can start figuring out how you are handling those objections. You can ask yourself these questions. Where in my sales presentation do I handle each objection? So are you building in these objections into your sales presentation so you can go, now we're going back to the first of the 13 ways to build them in and to do a mind read. Because just like in frequently asked questions and answers, you can handle those objections up front. You can address them as they are not even coming up yet. And if you can address them before they come up, the person closes themselves. Can you handle it with a story in your sales presentation? Can you tell a story? Can you handle it with a testimonial? I know there's one person, at least one person in this beautiful group that does video testimonials. Talk to that person. They can help you with video testimonials. You all should have testimonials for your business. That is a great way to overcome objections. Can you handle it with a powerful statistic from a credible source? You want to, especially for the knowledge people that are very facts and logic driven, you want to show your source. And you want to make sure that is a true fact, that is a credible source. So powerful statistics are very necessary. Can you use the alternative of choice in the close to handle the pricing objection? So can you give them an alternate, perhaps even we're going to go into negotiation later. These are some of the ways that you can handle objections before they come up. It's up to you. You're going to become, as you're becoming really aware of the objections that you're getting, you're becoming a persuasion engineer in your sales presentation. So you really want to bring light to the objections that you're already getting. You want to share the benefit. Make sure that you address all of the benefits of your product or service in your presentation. All of the solutions that you're offering to a problem that someone either has or potentially has. You also want to look at to see how the benefits can handle the objections. Do they handle the biggest objection of time and or money? Make sure that the benefits are made explicit, not just as a side note, explicit and spelled out in your sales presentation. Don't leave it up to your prospect to get it. Well, they have to kind of get it. No, you literally have to spell it out. Imagine you're talking to a 5-year-old and you got to spell everything out. That is your prospect. You want to reduce the risk, especially, remember, I'm German. I'm by culture, I'm a very blueprint person. I love processes. I mean, I come from outside the beautiful city of Stuttgart, where they make two great things, Porsche and Mercedes. And we're all about reducing the risk. So especially blueprint personality types that are very process driven, they're very orderly, that have all of their ducks in a row, they specifically want to reduce risk and are very risk averse. So people in general are afraid of making mistakes. People in general are, especially during this time right now, I'm just going to say the word uncertainty. They are, we all want to be as certain as we possibly can. So it's up to you to reduce the risk and you know, be careful that you're not making any mistakes, or that your client or the person, your prospect is not afraid to make any mistakes, because they might not have all of the information that they potentially need. There are several ways to reduce the risk of your product or your service. There's no long-term commitment. They're not signing a contract that they have signed their life away, or the prospect thinks, well, you know, if this doesn't work out, I'll still be okay. There's not a huge risk. You can create a guarantee if you don't have already created that, or a product warranty. Or if you can offer a guarantee or a warranty, there's still other ways to reduce the risk. So look at it from a very risk-averse lens, if you will. Now I'm specifically talking to, hold on, the dog is eating the carpet. Hold on just a second. Stop. 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 Sorry. He's just eating the carpet away, thinking, oh, she's not paying attention to me right now. I can do this. So there's that risk of eventually being no more carpet. So you want to look at, especially the people that are very action, like a ready, fire, aim kind of presenter. If you're in your business and you're a visionary, I'm speaking to you and you're like, you know what, there is no risk. We will just do it and they'll be all fine. That's fine and dandy in your model of the world, in the way that you think, but not necessarily in a person that is more risk averse. So you want to be very mindful of who you're talking to as a personality type as well. Be unreasonable. And I have done this, and I'll go through that, and some of you might go, are you sure? Yes, I am. A, I'm positive, and B, I'm very serious. If after you've handled all of the objections and you're like, I'm about to poke my eyes out, and the prospect still comes back to you with another objection that you have handled before, and you have nothing more to lose, be unreasonable. Say, you know what? Why don't you just come fly out here and see for yourself? Or let me come out to you and do X, Y, Z. Find something outrageous, because at this point, you have nothing left to lose. And you might just be able to speak their language when you do that. So don't be afraid to be unreasonable or be outrageous. Find something that will completely break the pattern, because you have created and you've spoken to all of the objections that there possibly can be. Negotiate. Sometimes you may need to negotiate to handle an objection. That means you got to be flexible on your pricing. Sometimes you want to start with a pricing a little bit higher and then be able to come down in the pricing, or offer a special pandemic discount, or a special June discount, or whatever, an anniversary discount or birthday discount, or whatever kind of discount you can come up with. Don't just come down for the sake of coming down. Make sure that you're giving them some sort of real explanation of what the discount or the break in the price could be. If you don't have flexibility on the price, then make your sales presentation so powerful, so persuasive that it is an irresistible offer. You can do the takeaway offer. Write this down. It's a takeaway offer. The offer is only good until 5 o'clock today. So you got to make a decision by 5 o'clock today. If you don't take advantage by 5 o'clock today, the offer returns to the full price. So you want to be very, very clear in your stipulation. What would need to happen? This is a powerful script to get the person to tell you what needs to happen to be done in order to handle the objection. So the script is, what will need to happen? Imagine you're selling your product to a manager who says that your offer is more than they can approve, as is. So you say, okay, what would need to happen to get this deal approved now? Or what would need to happen for me to speak to the manager? Or what would need to happen X, Y, Z? So what would need to happen is another great question to ask. And then the manager will tell you what the other steps are, what the next steps are to get that sale approved now, today, or by 5 o'clock today, depending on what the stipulation is. So what would need to happen is number 13. Those are 13 ways to handle any objections. If you have any questions, if I can be of service in any way possible to you, while the dog right now is nibbling on my feet, you don't feel that, nor do you see it, but boy, he's nibbling at my feet, so he's not nibbling at the carpet. Brigitta Hoeferle is my name. You're welcome to follow me on any social media. I'm on LinkedIn, NLP Atlanta, also on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, on YouTube. We have actually uploaded this segment that I've done a few weeks ago. So you're welcome to look at this segment again. It's uploaded on YouTube while you're on, and there's many, many other courses that are free for you to watch, to learn from. And while you're at it, you're welcome to subscribe to our channel as well. And my email is Brigitta@Hoeferle.com. Brigitta, first name @Hoeferle, just like you really write it just like you sound it out. Just like, you know, it's very easy spelling. Brigitta@Hoeferle.com. That's why I left it up here for a little bit. Or Brigitta@NLPAtlanta.com. That's another email that you're welcome to use. And if you're looking for me, you know, if you just look for NLP Atlanta, I'm the first one that's going to pop up. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. If there are any questions, this is a really good time to ask them.
I missed I didn't write fast enough, your poor behavior quote in the beginning.
Poor behavior is a lack of quality communication. Poor behavior is a lack of quality communication. So if you don't like the behavior of yourself or of someone else, that means that you don't have enough choice and flexibility to create rapport. And the foundation of any relationship is rapport. If you cannot handle objections for saving your life with someone, that is also great feedback that you have no rapport with that person. Other questions? Don't be shy now.
You guys gotta have at least one question. Brigitta, could you tell us a little bit more about, I noticed you said blueprint, you said action, you said the nurturing types, you said the knowledge types. I've got my cards here, so I've got a little bit of a kind of a visual to show everybody. Could you tell us just a little bit more about what you're talking about when you mention those personality types?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, putting humanity in 4 personality types is nothing new. It goes way back to Hippocrates 2,500 years ago. Myers-Briggs, DISC, they have all adapted it somehow in their assessments. The BANK assessment is different from DISC, from Myers-Briggs, because it's value-based. And when you build rapport, you want to be very certain, or when you're talking to a prospect, you want to be very certain that you're not just speaking their language like English, because es würde euch nichts bringen, wenn ich jetzt mit euch Deutsch rede. I mean, it would do nothing good if I would, you know, continue my presentation in German, because you would literally not understand you. Now, often your prospect still doesn't understand you, and you're speaking the same language, because there is a coded language for each personality type. And BANK is the only methodology in the world scientifically validated to predict buying behavior and decision making in less than 90 seconds. So let's go through BANK. And Major, if you hold up the blueprint card real quick. The blueprint personality type is a very risk-averse, as I said earlier, very risk-averse, very process-driven, strategic person. They will have to have their ducks in a row. When you meet with them and you're not a blueprint as your dominant personality type, and you're all over the place, the likelihood of building rapport is very, very small. Often you find blueprint people working in government agencies that are very process driven, or in law enforcement that are reinforcing the rules. HR personnel is also very blueprint. They're not just the ones that are reinforcing the rules, they're the ones that write the rules. So those are the blueprint personality types. The action personality types are the ready, fire, aim. The visionaries, yeah, let's go get them. You know, they're out there. They don't think it through. They just do it, right? They're all about fun and freedom and image and spontaneity. They're all about just, you know, going and making it happen. They're not risk averse. They love risk. So you already see that if you are one personality type and you're talking to another personality type, there could be potentially a clash. And you not knowing that will cost you. That is a big, big, big objection right there. The nurturers are I call them the peanut butter of any organization. They're the ones that hold everything together. They're all about harmony. They're about contribution. They're about caring. They are the ones that will take care of you 24/7, like nurses, right? You will always, you can probably easily recognize them because they come to you and they have no bubble. Like they go right into your bubble and they hug you and they care for you and they bring you care packets and you know, they check in with you. So those are the nurturers. And then there's the knowledge personality types. Those are the ones that need to have all of the data, all of the facts, all of the cited resources that you have stated, because they're going to go back and they're going to double check and triple check, and then they're going to do their own research. They are the ones in a sales presentation, the knowledge personality types are the ones that take forever to close because they need to have all of the information. They're the ones that are going to ask you questions and more questions and yet more questions. And when you think there's no more questions that they can ask, they will ask you even more questions. Those are the knowledge. And those are the hardest ones to close. Now, and that's where a lot of, especially action personality type sales presenters clash with knowledge. Like they just don't get together. But once you have a knowledge, you have given the knowledge all of the information, you have answered all of their questions, you have taken all of the time to give them everything that they need, and they have made a decision because now it's a no-brainer for them, and they have literally closed themselves after all this time. They are going to become your raving fan. And they're going to go out and they're going to come to associations like your meeting today, and they're going to sing your praises. So you do want to take the time to meet with knowledge people and give them all the information that they need, because they're going to be the most loyal raving fans that you can possibly have. The actions, they don't care about loyalty. You know, the next shiny thing they see, they're going to go and get it. The knowledge, you really want to, yeah, I mean, that's how it is, right? So again, choice and flexibility, being very, very aware of what your dominant code is. And no, you're all 4 codes, but there's one dominant code that drives you. And there's one, the last code, that probably is the least that you value, right? So you want to be very aware, what is your dominant code within your 4 codes? And there's a clear order, just like in your ATM pin, there's a clear order. And so does your prospect have a clear order in their personality value types. And knowing what their dominant code is, and then being able to speak their code back to them is going to be the key that unlocks a whole lot of deals. And not having that ability will cost you. Do we have questions?
Anybody? Because we've got Brigitta here with us. She is a wealth of knowledge. If you have any questions at all, there are no wrong questions, there's no silly questions. I promise you, you're going to get the highest level answer possible. Does anybody have any questions? Brigitta, that is a fantastic presentation that you brought us today. Thank you so much. I feel confident that's the most comprehensive presentation I've seen on sales and how to really look at yourself and master the things that you need to master within yourself